Snyder,
I'm Jed Tebow.
and this is Superior Drums, drumming lessons number 1.
Yee.
All right, what we're going to go over today is some simple paradiddle grooves. First, we're going to look at basic stick grip, and we're going to check out this pattern on the practice pad. So if you got a practice pad, that's kind of essential to the stuff that we're doing here. So the first thing we look at when talking about grip is if you're holding your hands open or closed, as some people say. A lot of drummers approach the drums with a thumbs up, open kind of style where they use the fulcrum of the thumb and the bounce and the gravity to make lots of beats happen, releasing their fingers from the stick. The drum technique that we adopt is the standard kind of drum corps technique where you close your hand over, turn it, so you can see the rears of your sticks in your peripheral vision, and you bring your fingers all touching the sticks and never delete the sticks. This allows you to play, as they say, into the head, and leaves it up to control rather than gravity when you want to start doing faster, finer beats. The first exercise to practice with this method is loud softs on each hand. The first beat as it comes down really needs to just be, you want to hear the stick whipping through the air. It needs to be very strong. The beat that follows it should be just fairly audible. It should just kind of drop onto the head. It's important to note that also when gripping into the stick and playing into the head, you don't want the stick to come back up off the head very far. You want it to stay close down and always start from a starting position about a half an inch from the top of the head. One good exercise to use is to just do a single beat followed by one loud followed by one soft. Also, placing the soft note in front helps as well. All of these practices should be done on the left hand, and as much as you can, practice to lead with the left hand to create an ambidextrous drumming technique. That's enough about stick grip. The foundation for our lesson today is a rudiment called the paradiddle. You may already be familiar with this rudiment, but if you're not familiar with it, it's simply the sticking goes as is. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Now what we're looking at is using different ways to move these paradiddles around the kit and to create essentially grooves out of them. What we're going to start with is a 4/4 rock beat, and we're going to move into a paradiddle groove where we keep the same backbeat, the snare on the 2, as a normal 4/4 rock beat. We give some different accents with the double strokes that are happening to the cymbals. I'll play the pattern really quick on the pad here, and then we'll have Jed demonstrate just basically how we work into it first on the snare and on the cymbals. So I'm going to just play some paradiddles at the speed we're going to work at, and then I'm going to have Jed play some on the snare drum and on the toms or the hi-hat to give you an idea of what a paradiddle sounds like when you just turn it into a simple groove. Note that it's also good when practicing these things on a kit to always keep a steady pulse with your bass drum, so you're doing these things in time, so you get a sense of the definition of each beat. You're not kind of just making them happen all sloppy, and you tighten things up from the start by keeping time while you're doing this. Okay, so I'll demonstrate the paradiddles 4/4 backbeat, and then showing the initial movement between the different areas of the pad. Now we're going to demonstrate how these paradiddles work into a groove to keep a 4/4 rock beat. We're going to do a 4/4 rock beat and then add in the paradiddles on the ride and the hi-hat, still keeping the snare drum in the same place. So this is the first part of the pattern. Now what we're going to do is we're going to play this pattern in 4-measure successions or 4-measure riffs. And on the 4th measure, we're going to take that paradiddle movement and we're going to bring the right hand over to the snare and do kind of a little accent to round off and kind of turn around the beat. So I'll show the sticking. The sticking is exactly the same. It's a paradiddle. The variance in the phrase starts out right ride, left hi-hat, right on the snare, completing your first paradiddle, and then left on the hi-hat, right on the ride, and left on the hi-hat to finish it out, and then repeating the same pattern. So I'll play the pattern on the pad here real quick. Now we'll demonstrate on the drum set. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take these two grooves, we're going to put them together. So we're going to start again with the 4/4 rock beat. We're going to move to the paradiddles keeping the backbeat. And on the 4th measure, we're going to introduce the riff we just showed you. What kind of bulletin points do you think we can touch on to recap for this lesson here?
Mainly, if your stick grip is weird, you know, you're used to this, the little, you know, using gravity pretty much.
Yeah, you're not leaving it up to control.
Right. You don't want to rely on gravity. If you can, you know, you should be able to muscle everything out. Like, you know, our instructor taught us, you know, you should be able to play rudiments and bounces, you know, double strokes as fast as you can on a pillow.
Yeah, and I think using these pads too, I mean, these pads do not have the bounce that a drum does, even if I'm trying to bounce it. I mean, this, you know, it gives you some sort of the feel of a drum, but once you start bringing your stick, your fingers in and pushing into the drum, when you do get bounce out of it, you're controlling it right away, you're stopping the hit. And in what else more could you want in drumming other than control of exactly what you're doing?
You could go faster, it's more comfortable. When you get this grip down, you're gonna feel, you know, more natural. When I was taught this not too long ago, you know, it only took me a couple weeks and this felt good. You know, I wasn't trying anymore to, you know, I wasn't sweating my butt off drumming anymore because I'm used to, you know, this is really relaxed, single strokes, double strokes, anything. You're able to go, you know, a lot faster, a lot more comfortably.
Yeah, and just, you know, practice the loud softs. You know, that first beat, just, you want that whip of the stick coming down. And then you don't want to bounce back up. Whip, hit, and play into the head. You barely want to hear that second beat. Lead as much with your left hand as possible, too. All right. And then the paradiddles. Paradiddles, great rudiment. A lot of drummers know them, and a lot of drummers, it's easy for them to play them on a snare drum, but they don't really hear the kind of grooves that start to get isolated in each hand when you break them up. So on that note, I'm gonna do a little drumming, show you what kind of grooves we can get going with that beat we just showed you when you get it up to kind of speed.